This week, Federico Kirschbaum joins us from Infobyte to talk about tools to help penetration testers and organizations get a handle on vulnerability assessment and penetration testing results. In our segment for today, it's not a technical segment, it's kind of a non-technical segment that will talk about how to make time to be a good information security professional. In our stories of the week, we got all kinds of good stuff. Verizon buys Yahoo. NIST recommends SMS two-factor authentication deprecation. Ransomware. Zero-day holds in LastPass. Hackers can sniff your keyboard, your keystrokes from nearby, and vulnerabilities in light bulbs. All that and more, so stay tuned. This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where exploits run wild, packets aren't the only things getting sniffed, and the cocktails flow steady. It's Paul's Security Weekly. Security Weekly is brought to you by the SANS Institute, the most trusted source for computer security training, certification, and research. Visit SANS.org to explore the full curriculum and latest training offerings. Onapsis, the leading provider of solutions to protect ERP systems from cyber attacks. Customers can secure their SAP and Oracle business-critical platforms from espionage, sabotage, and financial fraud risks. Visit them on the web at onapsis.com. Pony Express. Check out their line of penetration testing devices, including the Pwn Pad, the Pwn Phone, and the Pwn Pro. For enterprises, there's Pwn Pulse, providing continuous visibility into wired, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth spectrums across all physical locations, including remote sites and branch offices. For all those hard-to-reach places, there's Pony Express. Visit them on the web at ponyexpress.com.
Yes, I'm just sitting here looking creepy. Just like Paul. Here's your host.
Welcome, everyone, to Security Weekly. This is episode 475. It is, in fact, July 28th, 2016. Very excited about the show. This evening, as always, in studio, I have some illustrious hosts to help me with the show tonight, which we've got some great segments planned.
I wouldn't call it helping.
I wouldn't exactly say I missed work, Bob.
Yeah. Mr. Jeff Mann is here in studio. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks, Paul. Good to be here.
And in studio, Mr. Larry Pesce is here as well.
It's been a while.
Which is interesting because we're here now, and then next week the three of us are going to be in Vegas. We already made dinner plans for next week to be all the way on the other side of the states in Vegas. Where there'll be much
rejoicing,
commiserating, I guess.
Commiserating. It's good to plan ahead.
Yeah.
Time management.
Troublemaking.
We might talk about that later on tonight.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Mr. Santarcangelo had some announcements, but I'll wait till he comes on. We're going to bring him on, hopefully via Skype.
He's on now.
He's on now.
I can't see him. I don't see him on the.
Here.
We moved cables around, so.
You put some books up too, man. I like your selections.
We have Into the Breach by Michael Santarcangelo.
What? No.
Dude, you're in some good company on our book. I really like the camera angle tonight. It exposes some of our set. You're right up there with Nmap network scanning and the C programming language by Kernighan and Ritchie. So you're in some good company up there, to say the least.
You know what? I'm surprised.
Flattered, man.
The best book of all isn't up there.
We need to get a copy. I don't think. Do you have a copy of it?
Linksys WRT54G Ultimate Hacking. Of course I do.
Yeah. In offensive countermeasures, the art of active defense.
Not so
we need
good.
that
No,
one
I'm
too.
kidding.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, hello, world.
Hello, world. Yes. There's Michael. I see him now.
There
Welcome,
he
Michael,
is.
to the show.
It's always weird when I see me.
I want to. I'm excited to talk about Verizon buying Yahoo with you, Michael. I know it's not a strict security thing, but I'm sure you saw that. And I also want to announce Startup Security Weekly. You can actually go to startup.securityweekly.com right now and watch a new show that Michael and I have created, produced 5 episodes. I think it's 5, right?
Got 5 in the can, baby.
5. Well, we're working on publishing them now, getting them into the feeds. I know there's been a couple of tweets asking for them. You can go now and start watching the videos and listening to the audio, and we're working on getting those into
The / subscribe.
And we're getting the forward. Yeah, I'm going to update the / subscribe probably on the plane out to Vegas. We're going to get all that updated. But rejoice, we've launched yet another podcast on this network, which is really exciting.
It's a lot going on.
No, I'm excited. I think what people will see too is we're finding a rhythm with it, and as they work through it, everyone has been fun. But I really like the stride we're hitting, and what I'm excited about now is give us the feedback.
Yeah.
Either send us the stories that you think, ask us the questions, make the comments, right? Because what we're really focusing on, as we've been figuring it out, is it's the business of security and the security of business, but from a startup lens. And you know what? We'll adapt to what people want.
Well, and it's interesting because Michael and I kind of have startups in security. I have my software startup. Michael, you're launching something right now, in fact.
Yeah, I'm working a lot of hours on it right now.
Yeah.
And thanks, because I wanted to tell people about this. So one of the big things, and we did talk about this on Startup Security, so they'll see this in a couple weeks, but I've separated out the Straight Talk framework is actually now free and freely available at securitycatalyst.com. If you go to the resources section, it's there, and I'm going to keep adding to it and building it out. And what I've realized recently, and what I'm actually working on tonight, and I'm not sure if I'll be working on it after the show, but I'll finish up tomorrow. I'm putting together some guidance, a video, some slides, a workbook on how to actually start to use the questions. I mean, I know we use them a lot, and it's always fun when we banter them back and forth. But what I want to start showing is how to actually use these 5 questions in order. And all of that's going to be completely available on the website. And then some of you have pushed me to put something together better. So next week, I'm actually going to put together and launch like a little 5-week executive course. And I'll have those details on the website as well. So it's
Mike, we may use some of those. You've ingrained those questions into kind of my work lifestyle, and I use them all the time. And Federico is here with us, and we're going to use some of these questions on Federico, which I know he's ready for. And Federico Kirschbaum's here with us. He's the CTO of Infobyte Security Research, company based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He has more than 10 years of experience researching and pen testing networks and has a deep knowledge in the computer security and telecommunications field. He's also one of the founders of Echo Party, a security conference in Buenos Aires that happens every year. Federico, welcome to the show.
Hey, what up, guys? Yeah, it's kind of freaky to see
yourself. Yeah, I know. We're going to, hopefully the next iteration of the Security Weekly network in production will fix that. I have some ideas that actually I was going to whiteboard out for the team before I left today.
It just revolves removing a whole bunch of cables, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's already in the works, though,
every week I like to just go unplug a cable and see what happens. See how long. We got kind of this thing, like when I do that, the first person to fix the problem gets a bottle of booze. That's the ongoing bet.
The problem is you give away a lot of booze.
That's right. But if I find the problem, they have to give me a bottle of booze. So, and I built this city. On rocket. So I kind of, I have an unfair advantage. But Federico, how did you get your start in information security?
Well, tricky question. Internet was expensive, maybe. As in Argentina, I got into security mainly because I wanted internet and I wanted to find a way cheaply without my parents to kick me off the house for the phone bills. So BBS was my thing, and there were a couple of good BBSs down here, down south, but most of the information was abroad. So that's a little bit how I end up in this computing stuff. It's been a long trouble.
So you did primarily penetration testing?
Yeah, I have been doing consulting for a long time, and now we're a little bit into product, but I'm still doing code reviews every day, pen test, not getting bored, a little bit of research as well.
And so you created the Echo Party conference. How did the creation of that conference start?
So, well, actually, in 2006, I think I I begin to travel to some conferences, and I get to know Argentinians abroad that were living in Argentina, and it was weird to not meet them in Buenos Aires. The community at that time was big, but there was no place to meet each other. So we decided with a couple of friends to make the conference. And on the first, there are a number of security companies in Argentina. And when we created, we're like 150, and last year we were 2,500 people from Latin America. So it was an excuse to bring friends to Argentina and meet each other, and that become to grow each year.
That's it. So how many people is it now?
2,500.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. So you've grown significantly.
Yeah.
So like what kind of talks and things happen at Echo Party?
Mainly we are a technical conference, so it's exploit development, cryptography, reverse engineering. Most of our topics go in a low level. There is a nice group of people based in Argentina and Latin America that are way into exploit development. So it's not common to see this amount of lectures, which are quite specialized. The bells are ringing again. And we kind of became kind of a niche in the security area, such as recon. We have a lot of people that are looking for that kind of conferences, and they fly down to beautiful Buenos Aires and to have wine and Fernet for the ones who like that, like myself. And yeah, we got a great amount of lectures that instead of going to Vegas, they come to us. So it's a small conference. You end up having a lot of friends. So if you need an excuse to come to Buenos Aires, you have one.
Just a note to the production folks: the live stream audio is completely terrible, is what I'm reading. I don't have anything else other than that. I don't know what terrible means.
I think it means they can't hear us.
I think they can't hear us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, something like that.
So if you guys could work on fixing that, that'd be great. Thank you. So at some point, Federico, you're in a similar position to John Strand and myself. You had a services company where you're providing penetration testing, and you decided to delve into the wonderful world of security products and solutions. What went behind that transition, and what was the problem? Here's the question, Michael. What was the problem you were trying to solve with that product?
So there were two things. One, I hate writing reports. Most of the pen testers.
Oh, yeah. We're right there with you.
So how can I make something make the reports for me? And the other thing was on the security area, mainly on the consulting side, it's difficult to scale. So if you want to scale doing more consulting, you need a lot of people, and I didn't want to make a really big company. So we decided like first was a tool internally to make pen tests easier. And then a couple of my friends said like, hey, I would actually buy that. And well, now you have it. We are running a product right now, but we're still doing consulting.
It's interesting that when you create something and you show it off to some of your friends and they're like, hey, I'd buy that. And you're like, yeah, like I should totally sell that. That's a great idea. I love companies that start out like that. I think it shows that you're solving a problem that real people have, which is awesome.
But in as much it was solving your problem, not a customer's problem, what's the attraction for customers? Or are your customers pen testers?
So right now, our product makes a number of things. First of all, we have a philosophy of not changing how people works. And we also know that security testers, they don't have sometimes communication skills. So every time you're doing a pen test with multiple people, there was a problem of a number of emails, or even if you're quite technological, we end up using like Post-it saying like, hey, don't scan this host, or this is the information in a TXT file. So our approach was basically integrate most of the tools that were out there in a seamless way and create nice dashboards for managers and for people like me who are overviewing a number of pen tests that are happening on the same time. And I don't have sometimes the time to be in every single project. So Faraday, which is the thing we do, makes a nice dashboard with all the information from every tester in just one place. So companies also like it to transfer that information to people that are not in the security area. So it's not just a TXT file. You have a nice dashboard from all the tests you do and a nice report.
Nice.
So what is it about the dashboarding and reporting? And I know when we worked at Tenable, we use those terms all the time, right? But what is
I'm
it?
having flashbacks
Yeah.
or something.
What is it about dashboarding and reporting? Like, how does that translate into something useful? Like, what's the something useful for the people consuming that data? So what is it about your product that makes it useful for people consuming that information?
So during a pen test, you create a lot of data, and that data can be showcased visually way more effectively, and now it's converted to information. So I can send you a bunch of Nmap files, a bunch of Nessus scans, but at the end of the day, you have to do the summary and make up what's the story behind that. So it happened many times that I was working in a long project with someone else and he was on vacation. So yeah, I'll move you my project file. And he gave me like a folder full of TXT files with their notes. And I had to basically do the pen test again. So the dashboard, or what we think about it, it's how can I attract all this information from SQL Map, from Nessus in just one place and have an easy way to create a report. So if you're having like our dashboard, you will say, okay, I have 3 criticals, but 2 of them are false positives, so I can take it out. And it's not just grepping, it's just a way, it would be easier to show you actually.
Yeah, if
That
you
would
wanna,
be so nice.
If you want to cut to the demo right now,
Yeah.
Federico, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think it's easier. Let me see if I can, technology. So yeah.
I think we're still working on our live stream audio issue as well.
I don't know if you see my screen right now.
Yes.
We do.
Great. So this is basically Faraday. Faraday, as you can see, it's like your normal term. As I said before, one of our ideas is not how people work. And I'm kind of a terminal kind of guy. And we basically have a way of hooking up every command, and we have a set of plugins. Right now we have more than 50. So running something simple as ping, as you can see, my command got like hooked. And right now I'm in a workspace called pod.com, and the host has been created. If I run an nmap, again, we modify the command and all the information gets parsed and inserted into Faraday, and it gets normalized as well. So every time that I get to import more information, that gets parsed in a database. So if right now I hit over here, I have all the information from my host. And you don't realize, but at the end of the day, you start seeing the information. This is one of our other interfaces. This is the web UI. I'm going to log myself in. If I remember the password.
You should use
LastPass.
LastPass.
Yeah.
Or not.
That way you guys could help them out.
Whoa.
You're typing very authoritatively, though, so I like that.
We're recording your keystrokes, by the way.
That's right. We can tell what's being typed just by the sound it's making. It's awesome.
Well, this happens when you work on your development branch. Well, I have to check what's up on this side, but
Try password.
Nope.
yeah, I have a nice script that basically resets my. It always works.
It works when we're not streaming live. It's the demo.
Or not.
effect. Yeah.
Yeah,
Live
it's
demo
like your
effect.
live stream right now. Well,
Exactly.
I need to
It
check
worked earlier
side
when we tested it. But not when we're actually doing the show.
I don't know what. Well, I have to change server, but meanwhile, I will go to this interface, which is easier. So as you can tell, I can also copy we have a single way of integrating with like Burp Suite. So if you're running Burp Suite, we have an extender plugin. Like I do most of my work using Burp, and some of the things that we realize is how can I share this in real time? So it's easy as copy and send it to Faraday, and all the information that I sent, it's going to contain the raw information of the request, the response, and again, if I run something like this, I can also share it to Faraday. So if someone wants to continue my work, let's say I have something interesting from that side, you will realize that there's a lot of information that during the reporting process get lost. So I'm going to check if I can reset my password on this side. That happens on the demo gods.
We are sacrificing medium-sized animals as you speak.
Sacrificing interns.
Otherwise known as medium-sized animals.
So I need to do some hacking to change my password right now, but later on the show, I will show you what's going on with all the information that I imported into Faraday. But the single idea, it's basically cut down the hours you need to make a report and make information more visible.
So Federico, how do I, if I'm doing a penetration test and let's say I write a script that can, I don't know, do something in my pen test, extract information, maybe I brute force something. How do I get those results into like some of the more manual testing? And, you know, I wrote this Python script to do this one thing. How easy is it to get that information into Faraday?
So it's quite easy. Right now we have a number of APIs that allows you to integrate whatever script it's out there. If you want to write a script for, I don't know, Shodan and bring a number of devices into your workspace, we have an REST API. We also have an XML RPC and a basic regex as well.
Nice.
So it's just if you're running Python, it's just importing our API or connecting to our XML RPC and send which host you need, what kind of a issue it is it, and it's maybe 3-4 lines in your already built script, and it gets integrated into Faraday.
So does Faraday key off the host, or is there a way to key off a specific vulnerability and the severity of that vulnerability? So like, how does it normalize the data?
So right now we have a tactic of saying if it's the same bone, we are not going to repeat it. So if you import several times or several people import the same information, it's not getting duplicated. And we also have a knowledge base. So if you have your own wording or how you report, or if you're working in something quite specific, you basically can rename every issue in just 2 clicks. So the most problems that we have right now, it's normalizing how different companies name the same bones. So our approach over there, it's basically trying to understand what's the bone. So if it's a cross-site scripting, we try to see is the same host, is the same path, it's the same payload, what changed between these 2 requests, and try to integrate it in just one issue. Just trying to cut down the manual work you have to realize from 2 different tools that found the same issue.
Mm-hmm.
And now, what kind of is there like a ticketing system, or do you recommend that customers integrate that with their own ticketing systems? I know that's an issue for every security vendor on the planet, is how you get into the workflow of IT organizations.
So Faraday right now has its own issue tracker, but it's integrated with Jira. So we also have a community version that everyone can start doing vulnerability management out from GitHub. But our approach is to integrate with the systems that are already out there. So people that work in security teams, they have their own issues, but they cannot work independently from the rest of the organization. So having Faraday as an issue tracker for specific security issues and then transfer them and track them from Jira, we are about to integrate Bugzilla as well. makes a seamless way of working because you only see what you need, and then people who are responsible of fixing it will also have all the necessary information from your security team. So that's one of the things. We actually started as a pen test tool, and then we realized that people, they don't know how to handle the amount of information that it's generated during pen test. So doing vulnerability management was kind of a natural step.
Yeah. No, that's great. And Jira is a great platform, and it's used by a lot of organizations. It's one that I recommend to organizations as well. So integration with that is great. And I think that's one of the problems that we have, and everyone that does pen testing can attest to this, is you find all the issues, but who's fixing them? And are they getting fixed? And I think that's one of the challenges that we have as an industry, is to be able to do that. So Federico, we're back from our short little break where we both needed to fix things, which is hilarious. So the live stream can hear us better now, and you're going to show us a demo of Faraday, which you stated before. I want to make clear, there is a community version, and is there 2 other versions of the product, or 2 or 3? I can't remember. What. Is there 2 other versions?
So we have 3 versions actually. One, it's the community, and then we have 2 commercial branch. One, it's professional for pen testers for small companies, and then we have a corporate, which is basically for big companies that have an internal security team. But most of the things, if you want to try it out, you can shoot us for a trial. But if not, you can drop down from GitHub, or if you're running Kali, it's already installed and you can use it directly from there.
That's awesome. So yeah, if you want to, go ahead.
I'm going to share my screen right now. This was the dashboard that, I don't know, it's already streaming. Let me know if you see my screen. Okay, we got it. So this is the dashboard, and this is where all the information gets parsed from the other interface that I showed you before. If you don't like using our terminal, we also have a C Shell plugin that you can use it remotely from SSH or from your computer. Right now I'm running on my OS X. But this is the dashboard. Right now we have a number of examples. I was working on Paul.com, and I open up, I get this dashboard. And this dashboard has been created just by using and running a couple of tools.
Every time you say that domain, it costs Paul like $1,000.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
It's fine. It's fine.
We're good.
So right now I have all this information that was created just by running ping, for example. So if I go to host, you will see that I run this, and it created a number of services. And the good thing about this is that you can search it from everywhere. Right now I have one informational, which is basically one thing that I created from Burp. But let's say I want to change this, and this is a SQL injection. So I can edit and search for SQL, and I will do something like this and create a critical, and that's it. You already have a SQL injection with your own wording over here. So it becomes quite easy for penetration testers to create their own reports without having to struggle with styling and the way of how to have consistency in every single report. And also that it's a cool thing is that you can search a lot of information. So I'm going to change workspace for a bigger one, which has a bunch of bones. So this, it's a test dashboard that we have. It's basically our regular pen test, which is maybe a week long. And you have like a lot of information, and you have which commands have been run, what they run, when they run it, all the hosts that have been created during this time. You have the time, who has been working, and when the information has been added. So it's also a nice way of managing teams, because you end up having maybe 2 days before the report, when you have to end and deliver the report, you don't know the state of the pen test. But since all this information is created during the pen test, you always have the information of how's the state of the pen test. So if I go to right now to what we call the status report, I have not only the information that I'm going to report, on the client, but also the raw information of the output of other tools. So if I want to search for a SQL injection on this host, I will have not only the ones that have been rated as critical, but every single plugin that stated that might be a SQL injection on it. So it's a great way of managing a lot of information. And again, if I want to have all this information in one place, I can basically go to the export creation and create a new report. So I'm going to, and as you can see, we have tags. So you can tag different tools that you have run. So it's test, and I'm going to basically skip whatever. And you have also the other copies of the pen tests that you have run. So if you run for maybe a 3 weeks pen test and you need to do weekly reports, you have all the versions in just one place. So you stop using and sharing reports using email or using any online document system. So it's a great way. This is not a cloud-based solution. It's something that you can run in your own infrastructure, so you don't mind having the information being breached by someone if it is within your organization.
So, Federico, one of the challenges that I think both internal and external pen test teams have is the remediation. So if you looked at it from, I know Larry's going to relate to this a lot. You find a SQL injection vulnerability, and you write up this awesome remediation recommendation. Like, here's the impact, here's how you fix it, here's some resources, and it just comes out awesome, right? And in the next test, you're like, oh, I found the same damn thing again. I need to go back and find where I did that before.
Yeah. Which one of the 30 tests that I've done in the last however long?
But also, what I think plays both externally and internally, too, is, let's say internally I find a SQL injection vulnerability, and internally I think it's also important to say, here's how you retest for this vulnerability. Like, here's how I found it, and here's how you retest for it.
And even better, how you can retest with simple tools.
Yeah. So can you, like, define remediation steps and recreation of testing for that vulnerability and stick that in one spot, Federico, so that all the other pen tests that you do, you can kind of just point back to that and glob it on?
Definitely. Let's say I was running a specific tool right now, but if I go over here, I also have the raw information of the issue. So let me move a little bit of this. And if another tester wants to try it out, it will have this specific request. So they can test it out again. And in order to track it, we basically use a false positive idea. So let's say you fix it, but it comes up again. Since we have all the same path, the same host, it will turn over and say like, hey, this specific bone that you marked as false now became true. So it's basically making a delta between the information that you used to have and the information you have right now. And if you work every single time on the same platform, it gives you tools for making trends and making basically deltas between pentest 1 and pentest 2. What changed? The amount of bones that change. And you can understand how things got fixed over time.
And what about for remediation recommendations? Can you centralize that across multiple penetration tests and say, like, here's my database of SQL injection remediation?
Yeah. The knowledge database, it's customizable. You can basically edit the database and add your own wording. So if you have specific remediations for a number of tests, any person can edit and add it to this database and use it. So you don't have to redo your work several times. Just by editing and adding over time, it will create a great knowledge base. Right now, on the next week on Vegas, that I'm sure most of you are thrilled to go to Hell Week, we will be introducing the new version of Faraday Black Hat. And the basic idea of the next thing on Faraday, it's how things evolve over time. So right now, what we have, it's a structure that you had to change manually, but right now on the next version, it's going to be something every time a pen tester writes a new issue, it's going to get added. So at the end of the year, you will have something to not copy and paste again. That's something many pen testers do, and they copy things from one report to other, and then one customer name gets leaked, and well, you know that.
Uh-huh.
So
I mean, we've never had that
That's
happen.
never happened.
Never seen
never
that.
happened.
But also from just an enterprise perspective, if you're running any of these tools internally, you have an internal pen test team, you have some vulnerability management, you have any other tool that can identify a weakness in your systems, conceivably you could include that inside of Faraday and use that to then link to Jira and create tickets for people.
Yeah, and for example, I'm going to download a report. The output of our report, it's basically a Word output. So the report itself, we use a templating engine, so it's quite easy to modify. Actually, I have something over here. We are using Jinja 2 for those ones that use Django. It's something you have seen before. And it's easy to create your own style without having to record to us. So all the information that I created, all the graphs, the description, the path, it's over here. All the screenshot, the evidence. So this is basically a test report, but you get quality reports over time without having to mess with the style. So even somebody from QA that QAs your report can give you the perfect report for the platform, and then have it once over time without having pen testers to deal with tables and styling and running around before midnight to deliver a report.
It's interesting, Federico. I've spoken to a lot of organizations over the years about doing vulnerability management, patch management, and penetration testing. I think there was one that had created a tool that took the results from vulnerability assessments, assigned them to the right people, and did that on a regular basis and told them what they needed to fix all the time, and included their own severity ratings and different things and different remediations that they may have had in place that changed the severity of the vulnerability. One out of like hundreds and hundreds of organizations that I've spoken to. And Larry, you're kind of nodding like it's the same thing you see, right?
Yes.
With a tool like this, conceivably, Federico, you could have a vulnerability scanner like Nessus running. You could have a web application scanner like Burp running. You could do some manual testing, consolidate all those results, and deliver those to the right teams who can fix the problems, right?
Yeah, and also one of the things that it's really interesting in our field, it's that normally we are seen as that we do black magic, and that we run some specific spells and things go wrong and it's all our fault. But using tools like this helps integrate the security teams into the integration environment. So if you're working with DevOps and you share one access to this dashboard, we have like a number of profiles. They can also see how you work in real time, because we're basically a QA part of the company, and we also work. If you're working in your internal security team, you need tools to people that are not in your industry to understand what's risk. So this helps saying like, hey, I saw that you found a SQL injection on my branch, and that's awesome. And now I know how to test it. So it becomes less magic and a little bit more technical, because I think communication skills sometimes are not our best in our field, and it's kind of a versus.
We were just talking about that before the show, Jeff and I.
We were.
But what I like too is also including a screenshot, and what I like is the teams that are responsible for fixing the problems can get a report that's automated, that has a screenshot, that has, here's how you retest this vulnerability kind of thing right into it. And I think that's one of the things that we're severely lacking today in security, is that integration with IT operations, making it easy for them to consume our results and take action on them. And Michael and I have talked about this. Getting other people to take action is a very difficult thing. And here's a tool that I believe really helps us do that within our own organizations.
Well, yeah, let me add on to that too, because I really liked the way that you guys put that dashboard together. and maybe you guys feel differently, but what I hear a lot in security is, oh, I can't trust the other teams with that information. And so as you just said, Paul, and as you've been showing us, if we can give them information that is in context and actionable, we've solved a lot of problems. I'm encouraged. This is great.
Larry, Jeff, more questions for Federico. You want it now, Larry. I know.
I actually, where can we find it?
Go ahead.
Well, you can head out to GitHub, or you can access our webpage, which is faradaysec.com, and you can download the community version, or you can send us, and we'll send you a full trial so you can break it, send us our feedback. We work closely with the community. The main difference between the branches, it's making a report for people that actually works doing penetration tests, and the community, you can actually run it and have a vulnerability management program right out of the box. So there were no solutions at that time, and we became one of those. And we have it's open source, even our commercial version, so you can hack it out. We have seen many people doing cool stuff with our platform. And if you're running a bunch of tools like most of us, you have one place to store all that information. But I just want to say, I want to make people have fun with pentest again. That's something that we really try with the team. And sometimes pentest, it's kind of a commodity, but if you enter with gamification, you learn every time, hey, that guy ran this command and got, I don't know, arbitrary code execution running this script. So people also learn how pentest is done and how different people works, because there are not two pentesters alike.
No, this is great. Jeff, more questions for Federico?
So Faraday works with a bunch of different products. Do they come with the product, or they work with whatever the customer happens to have already?
It happens, we try to integrate with the most known tools out there, open source, commercially. So most of the tools that are used are already there, and having new plugins, it's something that you can create an issue on GitHub and we'll create it as soon as possible. Right now, if you come up with some tools that we don't support, we will create it. But still, we have a nice community that it's creating new plugins every single time. And I think in the last year, we added about like 20 or 10.
Yeah, I really like the extensibility factor. I like the fact that I can create, when I create Python scripts for a pen test, I can just link those results and send them in. That's extremely useful. Larry, I don't know if you run into that, right? You write some kind of, even if it's like the most ridiculous small little script, you're like, but now I got to take this manual data, I got to format it, I got to distill it down for someone to consume it in a Word document report. Like, this makes it so easy to do that. That's what I really liked about the Faraday product.
And also, if you're working with something quite sensitive and people or your clients are not used to having a pen test, you can show them and give access to this dashboard, and they can see you in real time do the pen test. So even though that some people wouldn't like it, it's an assurance for the client, because I'm saying, like, this is how I'm working. This is how I found most of the stuff, something that you can replicate. But they have a sense of overview of how you work, especially if you're in quite sensitive networks, because they know that you didn't went over scope. They have the raw information of your tools. So it's a win-win for many people.
And Federico, you're going to be at Black Hat. Where in the whole Black Hat madness do you fall in that conference?
In the bar?
In the bar. See you there.
No.
Do you like fruity rum drinks?
I will be in August 4 at the Arsenal. I will be giving two presentations, one on the Arsenal Theater, and the other one, it's a classic Arsenal where you can come up. I will be showing the community version. So if you're around, I will be there having a beer and enjoying the small heat of Vegas.
Nice. Very nice. Federico, it is now time to play 5 Questions with Security Weekly. Are you ready?
Ready.
3 words to describe yourself.
ADDH, quite Argentinian, and Loud talker.
If you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
A toothbrush.
If you wrote a book about yourself,
Where's
what
Carlos?
would the title be? That is fun.
Come again, which is the...
If you wrote a book about yourself, what would the title be?
Still thinking about the title.
In the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
First.
Choose 2 celebrities to be your parents.
Alive, dead, fictional or otherwise.
2007, Britney Spears. And...
I like how we had the vintage in there. It's very important to specify the vintage.
Especially with Britney
which
Spears.
vintage Britney Spears, and I agree with your 2007 vintage. Yes.
And I would go with 70s Eric Clapton.
Excellent,
Oh.
excellent. I like the vintage specification. That was awesome.
Because with both of those, the vintage is
It's
important.
yes. Federico, very nice to have you on Security Weekly. We thank you for your support. Of course, Faraday is a proud sponsor of Security Weekly. I will see you at Black Hat next week, and everyone should check you out in the Arsenal Talks. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. More Security Weekly coming up next.